又到了我们读英文的时间了。好习惯重养成，坚持下去就是胜利。今天我们读第48篇 Rules to Romance. In films and fairy stories, poor girls meet princess and poor boy find princesses. They fall in love at first sight, get married, often after a long struggle against a wicked enemy, and live happily ever after. But what happens in real life? In this unit, you will hear these stories about how these married couples met their partners and became husband and wife. John Keating is 34 years old. He is married to Maria, a girl in Brazil. They now have 2 lovely children. 4 years ago, John got to know Maria through a magazine. They studied their correspondence with each other. They wrote to each other for a year. Then John went halfway around the world to Brazil to meet a girl he'd never seen. John proposed to Maria and she gladly agreed to marry him. This is what John says about how he found his romance. I'd had a good life as a bachelor, but I felt something was missing. I had a good job, my own house, and plenty of friends. I'd had plenty of girls friends too, but somehow no one ever seemed quite the right girl for me. Then one day I was looking through a magazine during my lunch hour when a photograph of a plenty girl caught my eyes. It was part of an advertisement for a word pen friends club. I decided to write off to them immediately. All my friends had a good laugh, I remember. I received names of 4 girls. 2 from Japan, 1 from Finland, and 1 from Brazil. I wrote to all of them, including a photograph of myself. The last to reply was Maria from Brazil, but it was Maria who came to take first place in my heart. We wrote to each other for a year. Maria wrote in Portuguese, and I am in English. Of course, all our letters had to be translated. Then one of Maria's uncles came to England on a business trip. Maria had asked him to come and see me and report back to Brazil on what her English pen friend was really like. I think her uncle must have said some nice things about me. You see, her parents soon wrote to me to inviting me to visit their family. I started to get organized. As soon as I had the money for my air ticket, I wrote Maria asking her what her views on getting married were. I also sent an engagement ring and a Valentine card every day. Maria wrote back to see she would let me know whether she agreed to marry or not once we met. The day I was due to arrive, Maria waited anxiously at the airport. Suppose I didn't like her, but when my plane came in, she didn't even recognize me. Her uncle had to point me out. Maria was very happy to see me. You have the nicest smile, she said to me, and you are just the right height for me. We both realized immediately that we were just right for each other. That 10 days later we got married and Maria came to live in England. That's the best thing that's ever come to me through the post. Knight is 36 years old. She's an attractive woman. She and Mike got married a year ago. She's now expecting her first baby in a few months' time. They got to know each other through a marriage agency. In the following, Key tells her side of the story first and then Mike tells his side of the story. I woke up on my 35th birthday thinking, help, I'm turning into a real old spinster school teacher. All my friends seemed to be married with homes and families of their own. But where was I? I loved my job. I've had a very satisfying career, but teaching other people's children isn't the same as bringing up your own. How did I find Mike? Well, as a young woman, I'd had a few boyfriends, but never anything serious. Then I realized I wasn't even meeting any men, not unmarried ones away. So I took a deep breath and wrote a marriage agency in Atlanta. They told me I had to fill in a detailed form and then attend an interview. It was very thorough. They really wanted to make sure I was serious about wanting to get married, and they took a lot of trouble to find out what kind of a paid person I was and the sort of man I thought I would like to marry. I was told I had been given 3 introductions to suitable men for a fee of $50. If I married one of them, I'd have to pay another $100. The first introduction was to another teacher, which I didn't think was a good idea. But the second was Mike. Now, Mike, you tell your side of the story. Well, you see, I got married when I was a young man of 22, but my wife was killed a year later in a car accident. I was completely shattered. I put all my energies into my work and spent many years aboard with my firm. Then I came back to America to work at head office and realized how empty my life had become. I didn't just want work. I wanted a wife and children. I needed someone to make my house into a home. I wasn't interested in young girls, but how could I find a mature, loving woman to share my life? I think my sister and brother-in-law must have guessed how I was feeling. They introduced me to a charming older couple one evening. After they'd gone home, I remarked how well suited they seemed, and my sister told me why. They'd met through a marriage agency. You should give it a try, she said. So I did. I phoned a marriage agency the very next day and went for an interview the following week. I was given 3 names, including Case. I wrote to her first because I thought a school teacher would probably like children. Well, our first date was a disaster. We agreed to meet for a picnic and it poured with rain. But we both saw the funny side of it, and from then on, evening went right. Within a month of our first meeting, I proposed to Kay, and when we got engaged. The wedding took place a year ago. Speaking as a businessman, I think this is the best deal I've ever made. Yoshino and Hirumi Tanaka are a young Japanese couple living in Australia where he studies electrical engineering. They clearly love each other very deeply. They got married in the Japanese way. Their parents arranged their marriage through a matchmaker here. Yoshino talks about the Japanese traditional custom of arranged marriages. We didn't marry for love in the Western sense. We got married in the time-honored Japanese way. Our parents arranged our marriage through a matchmaker. In Japan, we believed that marriage is something that affects the whole family, not just a young couple concerned. So we think it is very important to match people according to their social background, education, and so on. Matchmakers are usually middle-aged women who keep lists of suitable young people with information about their families, education, and interests. When our parents thought it was time for us to get married, they went to a local matchmaker and asked her for some suggestions. We discussed the details and looked at the photos she sent, and then our parents asked her to arrange a marriage interview for the two of us. A Japanese marriage interview is held in a public place, such as a hotel, or restaurant, and it attended by the boy and the girl, their parents, and the matchmaker. Information about the couple and their families is exchanged over a cup of tea or a meal. Then the boy and the girl are left alone for a short time to get to know each other. When they return home, they have to tell the matchmaker whether they want to meet again or not. If both of them want another meeting, the matchmaker arranges it, and after that they can decide to carry on the courtship themselves. Not so long ago, the girl could never refuse to go out again with the boy who liked her, but now she can. When our parents realized that we were serious about each other, they started to make arrangements for our wedding. My family paid the money to Hiromi's. This money is to help pay for the wedding ceremony and for setting up a house for afterwards. We also gave her family a beautiful ornament to put in the best room of their house, so everyone knew that Hiromi was going to marry. 6 months after our first meeting, we were married. A traditional Japanese wedding is a wonderful ceremony, and our traditional custom of arranged marriages has given me a wonderful wife. 婚姻嘛，是通往这个浪漫的一个旅程。加油吧，每天就坚持一篇英文，让自己养成朗读的好习惯。加油，就这么简单。